In the last two operators we implemented, we are using the getter and the setter we generated to access the value attribute. But sometimes these operators that we define outside of a class need to access certain attributes that don't have a public getter or a setter. For example, back to our length class, let's add a new attribute here called x. Whatever x is, we don't care. It's just a private attribute. Now, if we go to either of these functions, we cannot access the x attribute because it's a private member, and here we don't have a public getter or a setter. Now let's imagine that we don't want to generate a getter or a setter for accessing this private attribute because this is purely implementation detail. We don't want to expose it to outside of this class. It's like the electronic board of a remote control. That's why we don't want to expose it to the outside. So what can we do here? Well, we can declare this function as a friend of the length class, and then it will be able to access all the private members of a length object. So back to this file, I'm going to copy this line, paste it here, and then prefix it with the friend keyword. So we are telling the length class that this function is your friend. Now, back to this function, we can access any private members of this length object.